Gaming on a tablet will never be the same. This is quite literally the coolest gaming tablet on the planet, both metaphorically and physically. The REDMAGIC Astra 2 is the world's first mass-produced liquid-cooled gaming tablet. With the catchphrase "icy veins, infinite frames," hardware that's normally reserved for hardcore gaming computers is now small enough to fit inside of a tablet. Nobody tell Apple. The liquid cooling loop with blue liquid is completely visible through the back glass. And today we're going to see how it all works from the inside. Inside the box we get a long USB-C cable and some stickers. Remember when Apple used to give out stickers? As we can see, once the Astra 2 screen is turned on, the liquid starts flowing through the internal ducting below that rear window, theoretically pulling heat from the high-end Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 and dissipating it out through the thin back panel. And it looks like the liquid is even flowing behind the backlit REDMAGIC logo, which is fascinating. The silver color we have here is called Starfrost, and the second color variant is called Eclipse. REDMAGIC has confidently sent me over these tablets to review, and they've also said they'd like to give 3 more of them away to you guys, regardless of whether or not it survives my durability test. So after we're done seeing how the liquid cooling works from the inside, make sure to check out that Gleam link down in the description. I'll put Eclipse off to the side for safekeeping, since Starfrost is about to go through some things, like the screen. You might think that the only purpose of a screen on your smartphone is to pleasantly produce pleasing pictures. But in reality, on phones and in this tablet, the glass is also acting like a giant radiator. You'll see what I mean more in a second. But what's important to know right now though is that the large 9-inch screen scratches at a level 6 with deeper grooves at a level 7. There is a small 9-megapixel front-facing camera tucked into the bezel. This REDMAGIC Astra 2 has an impressive 90% screen-to-body ratio. For reference, the Apple iPad mini is just 77% screen-to-body, which is straight out of the Stone Age. The sides of the gaming tablet are made from aluminum, with one USB-C 3.2 port on the right side. When you're holding it horizontally, this can charge at 75 watts. There's a metal volume rocker up at the top, which does not come out on its own, and a dedicated gaming mode switch on the top right. The left side has our power button and second stereo loudspeaker opening, and the bottom has our USB-C 2.0 port. You might have noticed that there are 2 USB-C ports. You can charge from either one, and one of the reasons to have 2 is so that the tablet can screen share to a gaming monitor or TV while charging up at the same time, kind of like the Nintendo Switch does, which is a pretty fun feature. There is a single 13-megapixel rear camera sitting inside the completely flush and flat glass camera lens housing. The same slab of glass is also what houses the flash, and the liquid cooling loop that we'll expose more of in just a second. And of course, since the Astra 2 is designed with gaming in mind, I figured a tribute to the highest grossing gaming media franchise of all time is in order. If you know what this is drawn into our aluminum frame, let me know down in the comments. A little hint, you do gotta catch 'em all. Turning her back over to the screen, REDMAGIC is using a 185Hz 1600 nit 2.4K resolution display with a 2000Hz touch sampling rate, meaning the tablet can sense your finger's touch faster than your finger can sense touching the tablet, which provides for some super responsive control over video games. And after 20 seconds from the heat of my lighter, the OLED pixels remain undamaged and unaffected by the flame. Not too shabby. However, there does come a point in every device's life where it must journey through the lair of the final boss, which is me and my bin test. We've never had a REDMAGIC phone or tablet fail, but there's always a first time for everything. When bin from the back, there is a subtle flex, but the Astra 2 locks out, and there are no permanent cracks or kinks. When bin from the screen side, we get the same result. A slight flex, but nothing even remotely dangerous to functionality. The REDMAGIC Astra 2 survives my durability test, which means if we want to check out the liquid cooling system from the inside, it's time to pull out the tools and enter in manually. The hardest and most dangerous part of taking apart a tablet is the glass screen. Since the pixels on the display are so close to the outer edges of the glass, it is extremely difficult to get the screen off in one piece. Any slight tap of those pixels with whatever point of the tool you're using kinda kills the whole line of pixels running up through the screen. Now, I'm not going to lose a whole lot of sleep if a few pixels die though. It'll just even out the playing field, you know? Now when I play on this tablet, it'll give the other guys a fair chance against my superior gaming skills. Normally I just play with one hand tied behind my back to keep things competitive. With the screen lifted up, we still don't see any of the liquid cooling system. We do, however, see one of the largest copper vapor chambers of all time. REDMAGIC has multiple levels of cooling going on, and they call it the AquaCore Cooling System 2.0. And while it does include the liquid cooling on the back, this large dimpled vapor chamber handles a lot of the heavy lifting, pulling heat from the processor and distributing it up through the front radiator that is the glass screen. The dimples on the copper make sure that the chamber doesn't collapse in on itself due to the vacuum that's pulled on the inside. The dimples turn into little structural pillars. The vapor inside of the vapor chamber can thermally navigate around inside the vacuum, weaving through all the dimples. The liquid cooling system appears to be below the motherboard, so we gotta keep on digging. I'll remove the screws holding down the battery brackets and unplug the battery connectors like little Legos. Then we can pull the magic pull tabs holding down the dual cell 8300 mAh battery. You gotta love magic pull tabs. I think every smartphone needs some of these. So much easier than alcohol or electricity. And so much more satisfying. Thumbs up for that. What's crazy is that REDMAGIC somehow got BYD to build their batteries. Yeah, the same BYD that makes the jumping supercar that's faster than any Tesla also manufactures the batteries for the REDMAGIC Astra 2. I'm impressed. I'll remove 6 more screws around the right side loudspeaker, and it looks like this time around that speaker's got plenty of balls inside. We also have our USB 3.2 port with the red rubber ring. The Astra 2 has an IP54 water resistance rating, meaning it can withstand splashes of water. It also has the waterproofing mesh over the loudspeaker openings. The iPad mini, of course, does not have any water resistance ratings, but who's keeping track? If my calculations are correct, down here at the bottom 2 corners we should have identical haptic vibrators, just like we find in video game controllers. The haptics provide essential feedback for winning video games. I'll pull out the USB-C 2.0 charger next. This guy is on his own ribbon and has his own red rubber gasket. There's also a large ribbed plastic substructure in here, which probably helps increase the overall structural rigidity of the tablet. Makes sense now why it doesn't flex as much as other tablets do, and why REDMAGIC was so confident that it wouldn't break. I'll remove the protective layers over the motherboard and pull the second loudspeaker out so we can finally get access to the brains of the Astra 2. This is where the 2 cameras attach. The 9 megapixel front-facing camera, which does not have OIS. It also says over here not to touch. My bad. We also have the rear-facing 13 megapixel camera, again without any optical image stabilization. Now that the motherboard is out, we can see where the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 lives. The processor sits inside the board with copious amounts of thermal paste and copper, which help move the heat from the chip out to the thermal pads, like this little square of liquid metal 3.0. And eventually, the heat goes out either the front screen or to the blue liquid cooling loop on the back glass panel. The goal is to take a concentrated heat source and spread the heat out over as much surface area as possible so that it can dissipate. The more surface area you have to spread the heat, the quicker the heat will disappear. And with that glass finally gone, we get our first look at the complete loop with all the liquid still inside. And it looks phenomenal. Liquid cooling is the most common form of cooling for high-end gaming PCs and even data centers. Love them or hate them, that is where the technology's at. So it's wild to see it miniaturized for such a small form factor as a gaming tablet. It looks like the single section of loop that was not visible from the back glass is where the liquid has contact with the heat source. Then there's a super small piezoelectric pump which pushes the liquid through the rest of the small channels, spreading the heat out across the surface of the tablet. Liquid cooling is about 1,000 times more effective than air cooling since water has a higher heat capacity and conductivity than air does. And you might be like, hey Jerry, but what if I leave my gaming tablet out in an icy cold car overnight? Will the pipes freeze? And no, they won't. REDMAGIC is one step ahead of us and has designed the plumbing system to run on fluorinated liquid, the same stuff found in server-grade AI data centers. And it can safely operate from -40 degrees Celsius all the way up to 70 degrees Celsius. So you could be gaming all the way up at the North Pole, which is fantastic, since I imagine Santa is going to get asked for a lot of these tablets this year. And it looks especially cool in the dark, since the logo and liquid is backlit. REDMAGIC always makes the coolest stuff. Don't forget the giveaway link down in the description. We're giving away 3 of these. And thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around.